Hi, my name is Kristen Yu, and I'm a PhD student at the University of Alberta. I'm presenting the definition, context, purpose, paradigm, and other insights from industry professionals about the definition of a quest. In my previous work, I worked on a general quest definition. In order to do this, I looked at several academic papers and synthesized the common elements from those definitions into a general quest definition. The purpose of this general quest definition was for it to be applicable across games and genres. A general quest definition has several benefits, including establishing a common language to talk about quests, as well as promoting collaboration, not only between different areas of academic research, but to potentially also between academia and industry. My proposed general quest definition has two equations. The first one defines a quest as a set of tasks T that a player must complete in order to get some reward. The second definition more formally defines a task and is actually unique to my quest definition. For the sake of time, I do not have the time to talk about each of these elements, but I'm just going to consider this element I here. I is the presentation of the task, which is going to be all the things that is shown to the player in the game to help them actually complete the task. These could be things like text that tells the player what to do, or markers on a map that show the player where to go. Presentation is also unique to my quest definition, and I bring it up here because we are going to be discussing presentation later in the talk. Developers are a natural source of knowledge on quests that are traditionally difficult for academics to access. Developer knowledge could be very useful, and it could help improve our understanding of quests, it could help make quest research more applicable to industry, and it could also potentially help inform the direction of future research. In order to access some of that developer knowledge, I interviewed 15 different developers who have published at least one game. I have over 13 hours of recorded interviews, and using thematic analysis, we generated 21 different tags which covered the scope of everything that the developers wanted to talk about related to quests. Now I'd like to go through a quick overview for the rest of the talk. First, I want to talk about the developer demographics. Then I want to talk about the interview process. Next, I want to talk about some of the results we got from the interview questions, and then introduce the definition, context, purpose paradigm. Finally, I want to walk through an example using that paradigm. We asked each of the developers a series of pre-interview questions about their development experience. First, we asked them what size of company that they have worked for, and 6 of them reported they were indie developers and 7 said they were not, with 2 saying they have experience with both. We also asked them what kinds of development experience they had, and a majority of our developers said that they had quest and narrative design experience. Finally, we asked them how many years of experience in the industry they had. The minimum number of years reported was 3, and the maximum was 30. And as you can see, about half of the developers have less than 10 years of experience in the industry, with the other half having more than 10 years of experience. We conducted a series of semi-structured interviews in order to allow for follow-up questions, as well as allow for the developers to emphasize or de-emphasize different areas of a quest as they felt needed. The first question we asked is, in your opinion, what is a quest? And we asked this to try to determine what their definition of a quest is. Next, we asked them what the purpose of a quest was. Then we asked them if they think that their definition of quest will match other people in the industry. We asked them this in order to understand if the industry thinks that there is a consensus on the definition of quest, or if it's going to be varied like how it is in academia. Then I gave them a presentation on the proposed quest definition. So then we asked them if this proposed academic definition matches their definition, and finally we asked them which definition they prefer. The answers to question 4 and 5 will not be covered in this talk due to time, so if you're interested in that, please go read the paper. We conducted thematic analysis on each of the interviews and generated 21 different tags. These tags can be roughly grouped into 6 different areas. These are critical thinking, presentation, player experience, technical details, reward, and goals. For the first question, we treated the answer as the definition of a quest. Each of these developers gave us different answers, and we used a labeling system to identify the common elements. T is going to be tasks, objectives, or goals. R is rewards and progressions. P is player and player experience, N is narrative. D is designer or developer, and O is other. In this chart, a box is gray if that definition has that element and is white otherwise. As you can see, there's no major trends that are displayed on this graph other than the fact that tasks, objectives, and goals, as well as player and player experience, are the most popular elements. Otherwise, there's not some consensus where all of the developers are talking about the same set of aspects, except for maybe 3, which have, the set of 4 here. Most of the developers had different ideas about what a definition of quest should be. Next, we ask them what the purpose of a quest is. Um, actually, most of the developers gave us multiple answers to this question, with the most popular answer being to guide the player through the game. Other popular answers are to tell the narrative or story or to teach the player rules about the game. Next, we asked them if they think their definition of a quest is the same as other people in the industry. 7 of the developers thought that their definition would not match, and 5 said that they would be different but with some amount of overlap. This represents 12 out of 15 developers who believe that there are going to be some discrepancies between the definition that they gave and the definition you might get from somebody else in the industry. We took the answers from these 3 questions and identified 3 major themes. This would be definition, context, and purpose. These 3 themes form the basis of the definition, context, purpose paradigm. The definition defines the state space of possible quests in games. The context is a set of creative and or production constraints the developers place on the quest. And the purpose is the reason or reasons that the quest is in the game. The context and the purpose act as a funnel, which take the set of all quests and narrow it down to the set of quests that are usable for a particular game. Though it is not shown in this figure for simplicity's sake, there can be multiple contexts and multiple purposes within a game, and the contexts and purposes can overlap as needed to more fully explain the design. To help you understand the definition, context, purpose paradigm, I'd like to walk through an example using Animal Crossing New Horizons. There are 2 quest systems. The first one is the Nook Miles quest system, which is going to be shown by these stamp cards, and the other one is the Nook Miles Plus system, which is shown by these bubbles. For the definition, I am simply going to use the academic general quest definition that I've been working on. For context, there are going to be 2, one for each of the different quest systems. The Nook Miles context is going to have a stamp book appearance for its presentation. It has 1, 3, or 5 tasks, and they should take varying lengths of time to complete. All of the Nook Miles content are available at the start of the game, or sometimes they are rolled out with an update. By contrast, the Nook Miles Plus context has a bubble appearance for its presentation. It has exactly 1 task, and it should take a short time to complete. These quests also refresh every time a player completes one of them, so that there's always 5. So that way the Nook Miles Plus context is functionally infinite, whereas the regular Nook Miles content, once the player's completed it, the player cannot complete it again. For purpose, I first want to discuss the purpose of quests in general in Animal Crossing, and this is to provide the player with in-game goals to achieve. In a game like Animal Crossing, there is a high amount of agency and there's also a lot of things for a player to do, so sometimes it is useful to give the player some small goals to help them engage with different systems and have a more enjoyable experience. The purpose for the regular Nook Miles is to provide the player with more difficult challenges to complete, as well as reward the player with large amounts of in-game currency for achieving long-term goals. The Nook Miles Plus purpose, on the other hand, is to provide the player with easy challenges to complete, and it rewards the players with small amounts of currencies for completing short goals on a daily basis. As you can see, the Nook Miles purpose and the Nook Miles Plus purposes are complementary to each other, where the Nook Miles Plus reward system provides intermittent rewards between large rewards that are given in the regular Nook Miles. This provides a satisfying pacing experience for the player in regards to the amount of rewards that they get as they're playing the game. Now I would like to talk about some applications of the definition, context, purpose paradigm, but there could definitely be a lot of other applications that are not available on this slide. The first is to actually compare quest and quest systems. As I just discussed with the Animal Crossing New Horizons example, you're able to compare the 2 systems and understand how the design of these 2 systems are able to function together to create a cohesive experience. Another application could be for procedural content generation. If you have a quest generator, you can use the context and purpose to more fully set the expectations of the kinds of things that quest generator can actually make. This can help mitigate any bad experiences somebody might have using the system, because they are more fully aware of what the system can actually do, rather than just making things up and assuming things because everyone has their own idea of what a quest could be. Finally, another application could be to evaluate quests in the appropriate design space. So the quest context and the quest purpose are really important for understanding the full part of the quest and not just the definition. Using this framework, we can start to begin to answer the question, like, is this quest good? And part of that answer could be, is the quest actually fulfilling its purpose? And that can help inform the answer to that question in a more technical sense, rather than just saying things like, was this quest fun? In conclusion, a lot of my previous work has been on creating a general quest definition. To help further this research in general quest theory in general, I interviewed several developers about their experiences in quests. From there, I learned that the definition of a quest does not exist in isolation. The context and the purpose are equally important to understanding a quest in video games for both a design perspective and industry as well as for academic purposes. Thank you.